role model for the nation and wear a mask to limit the spread of the coronavirus. Let's bring in our chief political analyst, Gloria Borger, and our White House correspondent, John Harwood. John, a source, as you heard, telling our Jim Acosta the president will never change when it comes to the masks, in part because he doesn't want the image, and in part because he doesn't want to admit he was wrong. So what do you make of that stunning admission?
Well, Wolf, it's not altogether surprising because the president has more or less said as much publicly. He was on a trip to a manufacturing plant a few weeks ago, and when he was asked about why he didn't wear a mask, he said, didn't want to give you guys the satisfaction of seeing me in one. But it's also very sad for this reason. There are people who are going to live or die still based on the quality of his leadership. Presidents have to be able to admit mistakes and adjust to the proper course when they get evidence in order to lead. And if he's imprisoned by his ego, he can't do it. And he certainly hasn't done it so far.
The president doesn't admit that he makes any mistakes. Gloria, the CDC director today proclaimed this pandemic is not over, but based on the president's actions, does it seem to you that he disagrees about the threat actually posed by this virus?
Wolf, this is not the reality show that the president wants to present to the American public as he faces re-election, but unfortunately for him, it is the reality. And he will not face up to it. It wasn't that long ago when he said we'll have 15 cases going to zero, or him talking about, okay, we're going to reopen at Easter and people can be in church together, on pews together in Easter. This is a president, and John Bolton told you this just yesterday, Wolf. This is a president who believes in politics above all else. And he said to you that he turned a blind eye towards the pandemic. And his explanation is, as a lot of people are saying, including me, that it's all because of re-election. And he wants to make the economy well, as everybody does. But in order to do that, he can't have people staying at home. And so what he wants to do is disrupt. And he wants to say, okay, everything is going to be fine. We don't need to listen to the scientists here. They're deep sixed. I don't even know where Mike Pence is these days as head of the Corona Task Force, Wolf. But the president's narrative is the one, don't worry.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You know, John, the president is blaming the ever-increasing number of cases here in the United States as a result of an increase in testing. Listen to what he's said in recent weeks. Listen to this.
We have so much testing. I don't think you need that kind of testing or that much testing.
So in a way, by doing all of this testing, we make ourselves look bad.
I've always said testing is somewhat overrated.
This is why the whole concept of tests aren't necessarily great.
Every health expert says, John, exactly the opposite. Testing is critical. So why is the president taking this stance?
I got to tell you, Wolf, it is insanity that the president sticks to that position for the very reason you said. Testing is critical to understanding where the virus is and reacting to it. But what the president signaled in the bite you just played is that his concern is looking bad. He doesn't want people to have revealed the extent of the virus. We heard today that there are likely 10 infections for every one that's been diagnosed. We need to know that information to respond effectively to the virus. To the president, he's less concerned about the fact that those 10 people have infections. He's concerned about it being exposed and therefore embarrassing him and suggesting he's not doing a good job. The American public agrees that he's not doing a good job, and he doesn't want to make it any worse. It's, again, if you're going to lead in this situation, you've got to accept reality and act on that reality, and he does not want to do that.
Yeah, that's important as well. You know, Gloria, our excellent congressional correspondent, Manu Raju, tried today to push the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, on the president's use of a racist term to describe the virus. I want to play the exchange. Listen to this.
As the president has been describing the coronavirus, he's been calling it the Kung flu. Do you think that's an appropriate way to characterize the coronavirus?
Do you think that's the most pressing issue you have about the coronavirus?
Think about that.
I know, but what I'm thinking about is why that is your most pressing issue as a question.
Well,
when we just seen a spike in coronavirus, you're concerned about somebody and the way they name it. That's appalling to me.
Why?
He's concerned, Mr. Minority Leader, about the fact that the president is playing down the enormity of this life and death issue. And Gloria, what is McCarthy's reaction to what is clearly a very fair and important question signal to you?
Sure. It is a fair question. It is an important question. The president used a racist term. And clearly, the minority leader didn't want to answer the question, so he does what politicians do, which is he deflected it. And he tried to turn it back on Manu Raju. And the point is that this is one of many questions one can ask to the president about coronavirus that lots of Republicans do not want to answer. Not only about the president's racist comment, but also about why the president isn't paying attention to the coronavirus. Why isn't he wearing a mask? Why isn't he modeling for the American public? Where is the task force? Why aren't we hearing from the task force every day? Why isn't testing better? We know he wants to limit testing, but how else are you going to contact trace in this country and know where the infection has spread? These are all questions that need to be asked to Republicans. What the president was clearly trying to do is rally his base. And what McCarthy was clearly trying to do is deflect and turn it around on the press.
Wolf, let me just add one quick postscript there. Kevin McCarthy lacked the guts to answer that question. That's why he turned it back on Manu. And he's not alone in that. Many Republican politicians lack the guts to call out the president. And that's one of the reasons why the president's in bad shape. And it's a reason why Republican politicians are in bad shape, Senate and House, in this election.
They're all clearly afraid to do anything that might upset the president.
Sure.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Just ahead, a special prosecutor is now being appointed in Colorado to investigate yet another death of a black man put in a chokehold by police. We'll have...
Always remember, Mark 9 says, all things are possible to those who believe. Luke 6 says, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Matthew 7 says, do unto others as you would have done unto you, and ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find. Matthew 6 says, if we forgive those that have sinned, Matthew 6 says, if we forgive those that have sinned against us, we will be forgiven. But if we don't forgive those that have sinned against us, we will not be forgiven. No need to thank me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And also, whenever you make a mistake, I strongly urge you, read first John chapters 1 and 4 and Hebrews 13, and also read John 8. No need to thank me.